What's up, you beautiful people? Unless you're ugly, then I am sorry to hear. Just kidding. Lately I've been thinking about like what type of videos I want to make, and someone gave me the idea to just start talking and let people get to know me. So, since I can't fucking think of anything else, I'm taking his advice, and here we are. The problem is, I'm not like a very interesting person, or so I would say. So I spent the last little while thinking about like what I should even talk about, and I've come to the conclusion that what better way for you guys to get to know me than to listen to one of the most, and I mean most, traumatic events of my life so far. I like how I have to like emphasize the words so far because I'm just so ready for something worse than this to happen. Now, before I start this story, I want to let y'all know that this may be a bit graphic for some people, and I'm not judgmental in any way. I'd say I'm pretty easygoing, and I believe people can do whatever they want and love whoever they want, as long as it's like consensual and not frowned upon, I guess are the words. Anyways, you'll know what I mean in a bit. So this all started about 7 years ago. I would have been around like 12 years old in the middle of like grade six or so, like a wee little lad, pretty much. This is when we used to bring Beyblades to school and have like battles in custom made containers. What does this have to do with the story, you may ask? Absolutely fucking nothing. Beyblades are cool, and that's all. Okay, on a serious note, our class had like a bunch of like table groups of like 4 or 5 desks or so, and me and my about four of my friends were sitting at our desk group. We had this like fan in the middle of our group to keep us cool because it was hot as fuck. Our class pretty much saw us as the cool kids. Not gonna lie, totally. Anyways, we were listening to Miss Karen. That's not actually her name, but she had like the Karen haircut, so we're just gonna call her that. Miss Karen was like just talking and talking, and then all of a sudden she brings up like information about her like year-end trip. And if you guys don't know what a year-end trip is, after every grade, you would go on like this year-end trip. You would go to like, I don't know, like Canada's Wonderland or like just somewhere. Anyways, our class was getting pretty excited because it's a year-end trip. Who's not excited for the year-end trip? Even if it's shit or not, it's a year-end trip. Who doesn't like a year-end trip? Anyways, we're listening to her, and then she decides that we're going camping. My friends and I are getting all hyped because who doesn't love camping with the boys, am I right? A couple weeks pass, our parents sign our permission slips, and we're off to camp for 3 days. Keep in mind, our class was only about like 20 kids or so, which in retrospective doesn't seem that big, but back then it was like a lot of people, especially on a single like school bus. Smelly little tweens. It was one of the worst bus rides I've ever had in my entire life. It was so bad. It was so long too. We had to go super far. We arrive at camp and we see like a bunch of like these old horse carriage cabins making like a U shape around the campsite. It kind of looks something like this. We were told that these were like what we were staying in. Each had their own little names named after different species of trees, such as oak, spruce, maple, etc. My best friend Hunter and I tried to get the one that said Ash because of Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. We thought it was so cool then. I know it's pretty lame, but we don't talk about that. Anyways, but before we could pick our like cabins, we were told that 4 people were already assigned to each cabin. Fortunately, Hunter and I did get the Ash cabin, and we found out that our other like 2 roommates, one was our good friend Omar, and the other was one of our classmates we weren't really close with. His name was Charles. Now, for purpose of this video, those are not their actual names, but we're just gonna call them that. Anyways, Hunter, Omar, Charles, and I didn't seem to mind as much then, so we set our gear in the cabin, came back out to start the day with our classmates and our camp instructor. So once we get like outside, we're all sitting like on the grass in front of our camp instructor, and the first thing our camp instructor says is, "I don't want you guys to be lazy." And all I'm thinking to myself is, how am I going to be lazy in a forest? Like, I'm not going to sit in my cabin and do nothing. Like, that's so boring. Like, why is that the first thing you're saying to us? Besides the point, she was like, I want you guys to like actually be out and doing stuff. So she decides to make a game for us. The game was pretty much Manhunt, but with like extra steps. It involves you being assigned a role. You're either like a herbivore, omnivore, or carnivore, and you had a certain amount of like lives or something. Herbivores had to go like around the forest, finding certain things in the forest. Omnivores had to go find and hunt these herbivores, but also find like these things that the herbivores were looking for. And then carnivores had to go around hunting herbivores and omnivores. It was pretty fun. This game lasted for about like 3 hours. Okay, I know it's pretty confusing, but like I don't know how to explain it, dude. Anyways, yeah, this game went on for like a few hours. It was getting dark, so we got called back to the campsite. And in this campsite, there was like this like big old like cabin like with a bunch of like tables and chairs, and we get called to go eat dinner. So we're sitting in this cabin, and where I'm sitting, you can see the kitchen. And trust me when I say this, it was the most dirtiest, disgusting kitchen I've ever seen. And they're serving us food from it. It was like, it was just so bad. So anyways, we had like this like really bad spaghetti. It was probably from like a can or something. And then we also had like Jell-O, but like it was like really bad Jell-O. Like I almost threw up eating this Jell-O. No cap. After this scrumptious dinner we just ate, our camp instructor wanted us to like go like sit by like this fire. So in order to get to this fire, we had to go through the forest, like pitch black pretty much. We got to this like fire pit or whatever, and our whole class is sitting around this fire, and the camp instructor decides to tell us a scary story, which was actually pretty fucking terrifying. And for some reason they thought it was a good idea to like tell these 12-year-olds a really fucking scary story. And once that was over, we had to walk back, and it was even darker. But one of our classmates was actually really terrified of this story. So my friends and I thought it was like a good idea to like scare him, because why not? Like what else do you do when you're 12-year-olds? You fucking mess with people, right? Anyway, so like we're walking back. It's pitch black. It's quiet as fuck. We go up behind him. We jump him. We don't jump him. Like we jump and like shake his shoulders, and then we like scream and we're like, ah! And like he fucking pissed himself, dude. It was so funny. We get back to our like cabin, and we're getting ready for bed. As we're lying in our sleeping bags, Hunter, Omar, and I are just like casually talking, because why not? Like we're friends, we talk. But we don't hear anything from Charles. He doesn't join the conversation. He's just sitting there. An hour or so passes, and we hear rumbling from Charles's side of the cabin, and we didn't think anything of it, so we just left it be. Several minutes later, we hear it again, but we start hearing giggling, and so we turn on our lantern to see what was going on. And right when we turn it on, Charles comes out of his sleeping bag, fully nude, and I mean bare ass naked, and jumps on Omar like a fucking spider monkey.
Spider monkey!
Charles grabs Omar's arms and shoves his millimeter Peter in Omar's face and starts whipping it around. Omar couldn't move because Charles was holding him down. Scared for our sanity, Hunter and I were like yelling at Charles to stop. Like, Charles, get off of him. Charles, get off of him. And then all of a sudden, Charles like turns his head as fast as like anyone has ever turned their head before, stares at Hunter and I like we are his next victim. And then thankfully the camp instructor came into our cabin, and like Charles stopped what he was doing. And like the camp instructor was like, what's going on in here and everything? And like we were like all pointing at Charles and be like, he's fucking weird, dude. Like what? Like get him out of here. And then for some reason, since we were quote unquote being too loud, they kicked Hunter out of the tent instead of Charles, and Omar and I were stuck in the like this cabin with this kid that like we didn't want to be in there with. So Omar and I didn't sleep at all the rest of the night to make sure like what happened doesn't happen again. After like this incident happened, Charles was then removed from the cabin for the next 2 days, but it wasn't until after like the next night. After the like once we got back from camp, the school year ended, and then I've yet to see Charles ever again in my life. It was like he just disappeared. Like he was like a kid that no one really knew. This incident happened, then he was just gone. It's weird. It's probably still one of the most traumatic like moments, not only for me, but for Hunter and Omar as well. How fucked up is that, huh? Charles, if you still happen to come across this video, what you did was pretty fucking weird, dude. I couldn't imagine how Omar felt. I hope, like, as you grew older, you came to, like, a natural human decency. Like, I don't know what to say. Anyways, thank you for listening to this. I hope you guys have, like, an awesome rest of your day, morning, night, whatever it is. Stay awesome. And if you like this style of video, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.